Hey there, welcome to Clear American English with Michael. I'm Michael. If you struggle with saying words like thank you, the, or three, and sometimes people misunderstand you, today's video is exactly what you need. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to confidently use both types of the American TH sound in natural conversation. This small change will immediately make your English clearer and prevent those awkward moments when someone hears something different than what you intended to say. The TH sound is one of the most important and unique features of American English. It shows up in a lot of the words we use every single day. For example, you'll hear it in words like the, this, that, they, think, thank you, and three. These are words you use in almost every conversation. So getting this sound right can make a big difference in how clear your English sounds. Many languages don't have the TH sound at all, which makes it one of the biggest challenges for people learning English around the world. Now let's talk briefly about culture and context. This video is for those who want to learn and aim for clear, standard American English pronunciation, whatever their reasons may be. And I also understand that many English dialects around the world use different sounds instead of TH, and that's perfectly okay. It's important to remember that communication is about more than just perfect pronunciation. Your unique accent is part of who you are and adds character to your speech. The goal isn't to erase your identity, but to make sure your message is understood clearly. Once again, this video is for those who want to focus on achieving clear, standard American English pronunciation. What many people don't realize is that there are actually two different TH sounds in American English. Today I'm going to help you master both of them. The first is the voiced TH sound, and you'll find this in words like the, this, and they. The second is the unvoiced TH sound, and this appears in words like think, thank, and three. Before we jump into the proper technique, let's look at the most common mistakes people make with TH sounds and some quick examples to help you avoid them. Number one, substituting other sounds for the voiced TH. Many learners replace the voiced TH with sounds like d or z. For example, saying day instead of they, saying doze instead of those. Number two, substituting different sounds for the unvoiced TH. The unvoiced TH is often replaced with s, f, or v. For example, saying sink instead of think, saying free instead of three, saying tin instead of thin. Number three, keeping your tongue behind your teeth. Some learners keep their tongue behind their teeth instead of placing it between them. And this can make the TH sound unclear or cause it to sound like a t or a d. For example, saying tink instead of think, saying dis instead of this. Now that we know what to avoid, let's learn the correct way to make these sounds. Let's start with the unvoiced TH sound. You'll hear this sound in the word thumb. And here's exactly how to position your mouth. First, slightly part your lips. Next, place the tip of your tongue between your top and bottom front teeth. Your tongue should just barely peek out between your teeth, lightly touching the edges of both your upper and lower front teeth. Don't push your tongue out too far, just enough to create a slight friction when air passes through. Now, blow air through the small space between your tongue and teeth. This creates a slight friction sound. The most important part, keep your vocal cords turned off. There should be no vibration in your throat when you make this sound. Try it with me now. Place your tongue slightly between your teeth and just blow air. Again. Now let's try some words with the unvoiced TH sound. Repeat after me. Think, thank, thin, 3, through, thumb, thought. Great job. Let's practice distinguishing this sound from similar sounds that might cause confusion. I'll say 2 similar words that often get confused. Listen for the difference and then repeat both words after me. Think versus thing. Did you hear the difference? In both words, my tongue is lightly between my teeth at the start, but the endings are different. Let's try some more pairs. Thin versus tin. Thumb versus some. Thigh versus high. 3 versus free. Thought versus taught. Well done. Now you can hear the difference and say the unvoiced TH sound correctly. Now, let's move on to the voiced TH sound. And you'll hear this sound in words like the, this, that, and they. The mouth position for the voiced TH is the same as the unvoiced TH. Place the tip of your tongue lightly between your teeth and just touching the edges of your upper and lower front teeth. The key difference is that for the voiced TH, you need to turn your vocal cords on. Your throat should vibrate when you make this sound. Place your hand on your throat and compare these 2 sounds. Unvoiced versus voiced. You feel the vibration in your throat? You feel it with the second sound? That's the voiced TH. Let's practice some words with the voiced TH sound. Repeat after me. The, this, that, they, their, these, those, mother, father, brother, weather. Great. Now let's see how this sound is different from others that sound similar. I'll say pairs of words that many people mix up. Listen to the difference and then repeat after me. They versus day. Did you hear the difference? In they, my tongue is lightly between my teeth. In day, my tongue touches the roof of my mouth. Let's try some more pairs. Those versus doze. There versus dare. Then versus den. Though versus dough. Good job. Now you can hear and say the voiced TH sound clearly, even in tricky words. And now that you can pronounce both TH sounds correctly, you need to know when to use each one. Fortunately, there's a helpful pattern to guide you. Function words usually have the voiced TH sound, usually. These are the small, everyday words we use to connect our sentences. Words like the, this, that, these, those, they, them, their. Content words, on the other hand, typically use the unvoiced TH sound. And these are the words that carry the main meaning in your sentence. Words like think, thank, theory, throw, through, thought. However, there are some exceptions to this pattern. For example, the word with can be pronounced either way depending on what comes next. When with is followed by a vowel sound, many Americans use the voiced th, as in with it. But when it's followed by a consonant or comes at the end of a phrase, the unvoiced th is more common, as in with care. While this pattern works most of the time, the best way to master these sounds is to listen carefully to native speakers and practice them in everyday phrases. Let's do a quick test to check your understanding. I'll say a word and you decide if it uses the voiced or unvoiced th. Number 1, that. This uses the voiced th because it's a function word. Number 2, think. This uses the unvoiced th because it's a content word. Number 3, with. This can be pronounced with either the unvoiced or voiced th, depending on the context and the speaker. In with us, many Americans use the voiced th, while with thanks, or at the end of a sentence, the unvoiced th is more common. Number 4, they. This uses the voiced th because it's a function word. Number 5, 3. This uses the unvoiced th because it's a content word. Number 6, whether. This uses the voiced th in the middle of the word. And number 7, birthday. This uses the unvoiced th. How did you do? Did you choose the right th sound? Don't worry, it will soon become automatic. Now, let's practice using both th sounds in complete sentences. I'll say each sentence slowly first, and then you can repeat after me. Number 1, I think that this theory makes sense. Did you notice both th sounds? Think uses the unvoiced th, and that and this use the voiced th. Those 3 things are worth thousands. Those uses the voiced th. 3 things and thousands use the unvoiced th. They thought about the path they should take. They and the use the voiced th. Thought and path use the unvoiced th. This weather makes me think about the beach. This, weather, and the use the voiced th, and think uses the unvoiced th. Great job. Practice these sentences a few times to build your confidence with both th sounds. Let's exhale for a moment. We've come a long way, so let's challenge ourselves now with some tongue twisters that include both th sounds. And we'll start slow and then gradually increase the speed. Number 1, these 3 thin things. This one focuses mainly on the unvoiced th, except for these, which uses the voiced th. That thing there thrives in this weather. This one uses both th sounds. That, there, this, and weather use the voiced th. Thing and thrives use the unvoiced th. Great job, guys. Great job. How about one more? The 33 thieves thought that Thursday was their 13th birthday. Wow, that's a doozy, huh? This challenging tongue twister uses both th sounds multiple times. Take it slowly and focus on placing your tongue correctly for each th sound. Great job, guys, with these tongue twisters. They're not easy, but they're excellent practice for mastering both TH sounds. Now, let's see how these sounds work in everyday speech. I'll read a short paragraph at a normal pace. Listen for both types of TH sounds as I speak. Hi there. I think this is the theater we're looking for. The show starts in 30 minutes. Should we get something to drink before then? They said the performance lasts 3 hours without a break. Thanks for bringing these tickets. That was thoughtful of you. Did you notice how often TH sounds appear in everyday conversation? This is why mastering both TH sounds is so important for clear American English. Now let's talk about some common challenges you might face when working on your TH sounds. The first challenge many people experience is that tongue placement feels awkward. Many English learners find it uncomfortable to place their tongue between their teeth. This is completely normal. If your first language doesn't have this sound, it can feel really awkward. The solution? Practice in front of a mirror daily for just 2 to 3 minutes. Watch your tongue position and make sure it's actually between your teeth, not sticking out too far. Just the tip should lightly touch both sets of teeth. With consistent practice, this movement will become natural for your mouth muscles. The second challenge is distinguishing voiced from unvoiced. Some people struggle to feel the difference between the voiced and unvoiced TH sounds. The solution is to place your hand on your throat when you practice. You should feel vibration for voiced TH words like the and they. You shouldn't feel vibration for unvoiced TH words like think and thank. The third challenge is maintaining correct position while speaking quickly. It's one thing to make the TH sound correctly in isolation. It's another challenge to maintain proper form during fast-paced conversation. The solution is to start with slow practice and gradually increase your speed. Record yourself speaking and listen back to check your pronunciation. Focus especially on maintaining the correct TH sounds in common phrases like, I think that, or thank you for the gift. Or for those of you who already feel comfortable with basic TH sounds, here are some more advanced challenges. First, let's look at connected speech. In natural conversation, TH sounds often connect with neighboring sounds. Try these examples. At the. Notice how the T and the TH blend together. In these. Feel how the N and TH connect. With them. Practice transitioning between the two different TH sounds. Now let's try some speed drills. Try saying these phrases with increasing speed while maintaining clear TH pronunciation. The thing that they thought. These 3,000 things. Their theory about the theater. The word with can change its TH sound based on context. So practice these phrases and pay attention to how the TH in with might change. With us, it's often voiced. With them, often voiced. With thanks, often unvoiced. I agree with that. Can be either. By mastering both TH sounds, you've tackled one of the most distinctive features of American English pronunciation. Think about how many common words use these sounds. The, this, that, they, think, thank, through. Words you use in virtually every conversation. Before we wrap up, here's a simple 2-minute daily practice routine to help you lock in your progress. Number 1, place your tongue between your teeth and practice 10 unvoiced TH sounds. Number 2, place your tongue between your teeth and practice 10 voiced TH sounds. Number 3, alternate between saying think and this 10 times. Number 4, say the 3 things that I think about 5 times. Do this every day for just 2 minutes and you'll notice a big improvement in your TH sounds within a week. As you read in English, actively look for TH words and practice saying them out loud. This real-world integration is the key to making your progress stick. Guys, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Let me know in the comments which TH words or phrases you find most challenging. I'd love to hear about your progress and answer your questions. Remember, improving your pronunciation isn't about being perfect. It's about consistent practice and small steps forward. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael from Clear American English, and I'll see you in the next video.